Hello, welcome, and welcome everybody at home to Digital Defenders. As always, my name is Milo Brooks, and I'm here joined today with Leon. Leon, welcome to the show.
How you doing? Hello. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you very much. We have some saucy stories today, right?
Today we got Mike, right, and his little romance scam. His wife was dying, right, and she asked him to find somebody else. He was totally in love with her, right, for many years, has a kid with her, and to hear that kind of news kind of struck him like, what do you mean go find somebody else? I mean, there's not many women out there that would say that, especially in a marriage, but apparently she got terminally ill with cancer. She wanted him to be happy, and she kind of set it up and asked him and told him that. So he was kind of taken off by that response, but it looks like he listened to her and tried to get out into the dating game and to meet some new people. And so this is where he found somebody, right? Vera, to be exact. And they met through Google Chat. Now with that, they connected, which is, I guess, the main point. Obviously, I think he liked what he saw, right? She had a lot of beautiful photos, and she wasn't hard on the eyes per se. So I don't want to say his wife was not as beautiful as her, but obviously a totally different flavor. So he was definitely starstruck, is what I could say. Find somebody else for his life, knowing what his wife was going to be going through and what she made the request. Let's say he was easy to push off the cliff. So he kind of ran into it a little headstrong, and he got involved in a romance scam.
That's a kind of a tragedy, but a tragedy that we will commend, dissect, and study for you so you don't make the same mistakes that this Mike did.
That's what's important, is knowing the story, because you could fall victim. And what's bad is they get you by the heart, they get you with conversation, they befriend you. When it gets personal and you like what you see and you have hopes to maybe take it to that next level, you tend to act a little bit different. You want to be that gentleman. You want to be that provider, that protector. But when the other person on the other end doesn't have those same intentions, right? You got to be real careful on how you're meeting people and how these things play out, because you could totally be taken advantage of.
Before we move with a video that production has for us, let me remind you, subscribe to our channel if you like what we do. We have over 50 hours of informative material. We have DIY tutorials, we have tips, we have tricks, we have everything you need to fight or prevent these types of situations yourself. So subscribe.
She's like, "Hi, Mike. How are you doing? My name is Vera, and I'm from California," she said. We were communicating back and forth to, just starting out as friends for a while. And I believe she is 38 years old.
Let's talk about the emotional manipulation that these scammers are using these days, because Vera's scam was, she combines a lot of things. She does new things that we had not seen, but some of these are very classic, engaging in the conversation, studying the person before he had a very public profile in most of his social media apps, right?
Yeah.
So, the scammer just logged in, found that profile, started studying it, where he'd been, where he'd studied, what he liked, what he didn't like, and just started mentioning those things to create a connection. That's the initial step, and that's where you fall, because, he was, let's not say he was desperate, but he was definitely looking for something.
Having your profile out there public with all those different types of information, you can quickly grab a profile of somebody, you can scan, you can have all of the details which you are going to use against that person. And for him to be in the state that he was in, he definitely left that door open, and they manipulated. And he fell victim, and they knew this, right? They could smell the want in his messages, and they could feel how they had him in their grips, and then they just slowly put the squeeze on him. People gotta definitely be aware of that maliciousness,
because it's always exciting, right? Even he didn't know this was not real. When when you're starting something, you start talking to someone, you're looking, they mention something that you like, you're gonna be excited. Then at the next day, you wake up and you have a good morning message from that person, like, have a lovely day. You're going to be like, this person is amazing.
We got to be careful about that emotional connection. And with him, he was in a bad place in which it allowed that manipulation to come in. He saw it, and real difficult to come back from it because they're totally just focusing on him, saying all the right things, and he fell for it.
And this was just the initial stage, because after that, the next portion is the love bombing, which is even worse, right? And then they start sending, oh, hey, you look really good on messages. They comment on your every post.
Hey, sweetie, babe. That even red flagged in some moment to him when she started switching up how she was addressing him.
Right.
He was like, well, what's this?
Because I have a wife, and that was she was still alive.
But he's like, is our relationship going in a different area? And I think that's, well, I know that was all planned. Now the fish bit the hook, and now they're reeling them in. And that was the difficult part, right? After all of these little special messages was just reel this guy in and make him feel it.
And the thing about that is that, like, the control of the conversation, you're never in control when you're the victim, okay? You think you're talking to someone, you're not talking to that person. They tell you things that are not really real. And after that, they hit, well, in this case, Vera, she hit him with I mean, if this was a book, this would be like part of the climax or the development of it.
Yeah.
Just where she moved from the I love you portion to the I need you portion.
Oh yeah, she created that dependency. And then when it's that dependency and you pull it away, his day is ruined. When he didn't get that, hey, how are you doing morning message, I mean, in reality, he's living off of that. I bet you he's still getting it from his wife while she was still alive and everything. But when it started to transition, like, he's following what his wife said. And so now he's getting emotionally attached.
And it's not only about the fact that his wife allowed him to do this. It's the fact that he had been providing for her for a long time, right? She got cancer. She allowed him to do this, but he was providing for her all along. So this sense of need, this tactic, that this I need you, the scammer, he did the same things.
Well, when you set it up that way, and then you just naturally, you're discussing your things in your day, and then things happen. I've gone to go to the grocery store and my card doesn't work. So it was the perfect setup, right? And once he's invested, all right, so we got him, right? Well, there's the fish on the hook, reeling them in. And then, they started small. First, it was groceries. I didn't have any food. Hey, you got $40? Who doesn't have $40? Who doesn't have $40? And especially, like you said, he's a provider. He's going to take that responsibility, and he's going to go into here, especially with a girl that he is trying to court. So I don't want to say, you don't want to be a brokey, but he definitely didn't want to say no to her in any way, shape, or form. So that's where that started, that relationship. And now it started transitioning into the need, and then her need, and then her consistent little fails and trials and tribulations of life, right? Everybody goes through things, but I mean, it was a little bit planned and definitely how it was to play out, and he fell for it completely, and it started small. He started, $40 here and there with small excuses. You could see that he at some point would question, but she gave a simple answer. Oh, I don't know. My cards are just not working. I'll talk to the bank later.
And those are the simple answers that once you are out of this situation, you start reading more carefully, because you start reading through those.
You got to.
Through what those messages really meant. Like, he went to California 7 times looking for her and everything. He went to her house and everything.
Imagine the investment that he had to make.
It's thousands of dollars.
Like, I'm not saying, like, and that's not money he spent on her. It just strengthens their case. Just gives them more fuel for the fire.
And Vera, or the scammer posing as Vera, even questioned him, right? Like, hey, you don't love me enough to do this for me.
The manipulation is just strong. And that's the difficult part, right? Because once they start tugging on those strings and they start poking, he's not going to sit there softly on it and just let it fall on deaf ears. He's going to act. They're going to get him to to post up.
Let's move to the exploitation now, because this is the beginning of the exploitation. There's little favors, this little, hey, can I have $40, $50 to buy groceries, to get school things for my kid, whatever. That was just the beginning. That was just setting him up for a much bigger thing.
They showed me the video, like said, she's gone. Why? I'm thinking in my mind, my wife is gone. And it's very hard. It's a very difficult time in my life.
Mike's wife dies. Yeah, dies of cancer. She was sick with cancer, so she dies of it. Vera starts supporting him, but she introduces another thing, which is the whole plot twist of this, the business idea. She mentions having a business and needing help with the taxes of it, packages being stuck in some country.
Yeah, she started to involve him in what her so-called business was. Right? And saying things to him like, don't open the package, just pick it up and sign for it, which, once again, we go back to the red flags that the guy's not paying attention to. But this comes out of nowhere, right? This is where it really takes a bad turn, right? Because now she's involving him in
an internationally criminal organization.
Yeah, now we don't even know what's going on. And for him not to really kind of see the bad behind it and what could come of it, she's implicating him in criminal activities.
Vera was always there for Mike as he went through the grieving stages of his wife's passing. The two chatted every day and night. The two grew closer and closer, but things took a turn when she claimed she was locked out of her accounts.
Losing his wife, and this being almost immediate.
That was the pinpoint. That was the pinpoint in which she began to now put the squeeze on him, right? Because then she started, at that moment, being real supportive of his pain and drawing similarities. I think she brought up something like she knows what it is to lose somebody, and he expressed like he needed time, like now this is just going way too fast. So he was literally hurt by the death of his wife. He's invested in this relationship, right? So he's also tied. He's in a tough spot.
The bad part is when he stops. The bad part and the thing that sticks with us is when he says no anymore. Why? Because then she starts actually blackmailing him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't notice because he keeps complying with the situation.
He should have known better, but he didn't, right? That's what happens in these cases, is that people are blind to see these details. And she did it real maliciously, right? And then since she's got him already involved in things, right? He's already picked up packages. There's already some involvement on his side. And then here comes the blackmail. So she definitely has something to use against him, which...
And then this transition from what we talked about, the hi, you're cute, the I love yous, to the I need you, to this one. It's just, I love you, but I need this.
Oh, no, now I want it. And now when I don't get it and I get my no, and then here comes a threat. He's actually done things to where he needs to pay attention to this threat. This threat is not a simple, why didn't you give it to me? I'm not talking to you. I don't love you no more. And that would still be within the relationship kind of scam category. But now she moved it into a whole different area, right? Blackmailing him. Now getting him to possibly do more things, getting him deeper into the hole.
Yeah, and we bring you this story not to scare you or anything, but to remind you that there are things that you can do not to be Mike. And this doesn't sound as good, but it's part of it, right? Mike is a victim, and he was a victim to this. And the best thing you can do is prevention. So let's talk prevention.
Oh, there's a lot of things that one can do, but one has to be mindful for what kind of information exists out there in your accounts. Right? If you've got public accounts where people can just see your information, know that. Do things happen organically? Do people have the same interest? They saw your interest, they see that you're into it, and they want to gain from your experience. These things happen. But not at this level, and not too frequently, and not on this level, because they really kind of build a profile from this guy, from all the things that existed out there, and then they used it against him, and he didn't pay attention to any of those things. So you have to pay attention.
We can always mention the privacy settings as well. Even with this, is they walk hand by hand, right?
Yeah, no, you got a lockdown on your account.
My privacy settings are, all my profiles are private. I show even within the population that I manage within my profile, I manage to show what I want to show only to certain people whenever I want to show it. Okay, and this is something that you can do at home as well, right? You go to your, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, any social media app, you go to privacy settings, you make your profile private, you make sure that only the people you want to see the information can see the information.
Yeah.
We can mention passwords as well, right? 12345 is not a secure password. Your pet's name is not a secure password.
Your birthday is not a secure password.
Exactly.
If you're into tattoos, like you gotta really kind of, it's a password.
Come up with something unique.
Exactly. Characters, special characters, numbers, words that don't describe you, that have nothing to do with you, capitals, lower cases, mixing that all up. Anything above a 10, 12, 13, it's hard to remember, but at the end of the day, it's super hard to crack. And there's programs out there that can crack your password. So the longer it is, the longer the program has to, and once you start getting into the 10 characters, more passwords, I think it takes the years for the program to kind of go through all the combinations. You really got to pay attention to what kind of password. If you can have
two-factor authentication.
Oh, you got to have that, definitely, right?
For the audience who doesn't know this, two-factor authentication is a code that is sent via SMS, WhatsApp, or email to you so you can log in. It's an extra step, it's an extra code, and only you, by the means you choose, can receive it and activate it.
We get phones left and right. They fall in the toilet. They go into a pond. They don't work, but you forget to disconnect it, right? There's means and ways to get into these devices, to mimic those devices and get those passwords. And you're the only one that will pay if you don't pay attention to these things.
This one is a little bit more advanced, but if you at home want to try it, it's something that I have tried personally. And if you are one of the people who are starting in the online dating world, a reverse image search on Google can actually help you. And this is how Mike found out in the end that he was being scammed. He took the picture of Vera and he added it to Google, and Google showed him the profile of the actual person, the real, whose identity had been stolen.
That's got to be the hardest part out of all of this, is coming to the realization that you just got jacked, right? And you're seeing the person, right? That person is a real person that you haven't been able to see, but now you do get to see. And so that's definitely got to be salt on the wound. So one thing I would say is it's definitely listen to these also red flags, because they never met, right? It was countless trying failed connections. There was never the moment in which he got to see her in some type of video chat, which is super easy to do, right? Anybody can do that, and that can validate a lot of stuff.
Now, there was something that you mentioned that is going to allow me to explain the whole thing that we do here, which was using the identity of someone else and hiding behind it.
Right.
Because this is what we do here. We fight anonymity. We are fighting it. So if you ever need the help of someone like him, this is what you will be getting.
We definitely figure out what kind of scam's going on. So we identify, right? And then we also get the information. We gather all the information, and it's specific. Everybody is a little bit different. Sometimes it's 3 of these scams melted into one, which make it a whole different dynamic. But that's something that we identify, we take care of. It's not something that you have to worry about. You've got paid professionals to get in, identify these kinds of things specifically to your situation, tailored, and then we put a report together, and you get evidence of what's going on so that you have something to really base your next steps and your decisions on, right?
That's really good. So yes, we first track the IP and the address of this criminal. Then we work with payment portals, Bitcoin, MoneyGram, Western Union to gather their IDs. We can now reveal that we give you a report. Now, this report is a comprehensive report. Every word we said, every picture they sent, every threat they sent, everything that we found out, we give it to you to the record so you can take to the local authorities so they can actually start building up a case and not having to investigate on the case, because that's something that, you know, law enforcement,
they don't have the capability for.
it takes some time, right?
And they don't have the bandwidth, and that's the truth. So for you to come to them with evidence, with a report, and from a well-known company that does this daily, right, helps people navigate through these extremely difficult situations, that's priceless, right? It helps you get your case moved forward. The police will most likely take you a lot seriously because you have proven evidence, and that's something that they can't deny. So it will definitely help your case. And if you're in something real sticky, you need help, and you need something to back you up. You just can't come with, oh, she took my money, and well, where did it go? How was it? And if you can't answer these questions, that's what we're here for.
If you ever find yourself in these types of situations, you can contact us at 800-849-6515. Leon, do you want to remind them of the website?
Absolutely. It's digitalforensics.com. So definitely, and our podcast, we are Digital Defenders.
We are the Digital Defenders.
So you can comment below, right? You can like the video. You can subscribe
as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Subscribe is huge. If you don't know about these, and so knowing about them, seeing these videos will help you kind of understand what exists out there, so that you really can prepare yourself and be aware that something could happen. Nowadays, it's happened more frequently than people really think.
Those are really wise words. Thank you very much for coming. First of all, we hope you like the content that we created for you today.
Absolutely.
We hope to see you in the next episode of Digital Defenders. I am Milo Brooks. This is my friend Leon, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.